The nation didn't know it yet, but as 1864 was coming to a close, so was the war that had torn it apart for nearly 4 years. Edwards Ferry was the site of the last engagement in this area. Colonel Elijah White and his men skirmished here with the 1st Delaware Cavalry in February 1865. 2 months later, Lee surrendered his Army of Northern Virginia on April 9, 1865, at Appomattox. Just 5 days later, the country was rocked by the news that President Lincoln had been shot at Ford's Theater in Washington. Montgomery County became involved when one of John Wilkes Booth's conspirators, George Atzerodt, was captured at his relative's farm in Germantown. While the farmhouse is no longer standing, it was located here, near Richter Farm Road in a recently developed part of Germantown. Like every place touched by this grim conflict, the Civil War took its toll on Montgomery County. The widespread destruction and bitterness lingered for decades. The process of rebuilding took a long time, both physically and emotionally. As Montgomery County was healing, newly freed slaves were able to purchase marginal bits of land where they formed small communities. Communities like Mount Ephraim, Sugar Land, Lincoln Park, and this spot, Martinsburg. Just outside of Poolesville, Martinsburg is home to a rare collection of civic buildings from the late 19th century. Still standing are the Warren Methodist Episcopal Church, the Martinsburg School, and the Loving Charity Hall. This group of buildings is an important reminder of 19th century African American life. The Warren Historic Site Committee is working to stabilize and rehabilitate the Loving Charity Hall as a community center and museum. Issues raised by the Civil War remained part of our nation's unfinished business. Reconstruction, the period of adjustment that followed the Civil War, was only the beginning of gradual changes for the people of Montgomery County and our country as a whole. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution abolished slavery and afforded certain citizenship rights to all Americans, including African Americans. It also strengthened our federal government. But the physical reconstruction of our war-ravaged nation would take decades. Another 100 years would have to pass before people of color truly began to benefit from the economic, civil, educational, and political freedoms envisioned at the end of the Civil War. The Civil War remains the deadliest war in the history of the United States. For 4 long years, Americans fought Americans, struggling to define the meaning of freedom for this country. In his Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln described the Civil War as a test for democracy. By succeeding in that test, America became one nation dedicated to the proposition of freedom and equal opportunity for all. Because the struggle for democracy never ends, many of the issues that divided the nation then are still with us today.
Heritage Montgomery invites you to explore and appreciate the many facets of this county's Civil War legacy, with visits to the myriad of sites all around the county. A brochure with a complete listing is available at www.heritagemontgomery.org.